Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. The title of this episode is Boost Energy, Decrease Stress, and Reclaim Your Life. In this episode, we are speaking with Heather Paeplow, who is a certified nurse practitioner and health and wellness coach. After practicing for 8 years in the traditional medical model, she found herself no longer aligned and with a deep desire to foster health rather than manage disease. She implements and believes in a holistic approach to uncover the root cause of health issues and addresses the whole person, physically, mentally, spiritually, for relief and healing to occur. Heather, it is such an honor to have you on. Can you give the audience a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So a little bit about my background, kind of like you said, I've worked in the traditional medical model for about 8 years. Um, I started off working in a intensive care unit initially, worked there for about 5 years before I went back to grad school. Continued to work there as I was in grad school and throughout the pandemic. And I kind of hit this point thinking that, when with going back to grad school, that like that was how I could help people because obviously working in an ICU, you
Mm.
see the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
People are critically ill. And obviously, I am all for, traditional Western medicine, for those circumstances, because I mean, you have to survive. But I felt like I wanted to help people not just survive and actually thrive and live their life to the fullest. Um, so I went back to school, and then while I was in school, yeah, I did all of the things wrong that you shouldn't do. So I was, working in the ICU full time. I had a toddler at home. I decided that for whatever reason that would be a great time to run a marathon. So I trained for that and did that, all while in grad school and doing all the things. So I basically just, I overloaded myself and hit this point to where I was like, okay, yeah, I can't keep going on, having all of the issues, things that we don't realize are affecting us by our stress choice, the things that we choose to do and our choices that we make and how that stress impacts us. So yeah, I ended up having a lot of anxiety, sleep issues, gut issues, kind of the whole gambit, you name it. And decided, okay, well, if you, just knowing what I know, like I know if I go to the doctor and my labs are normal, then that's going to be that. So it's
Yeah.
like I knew what I was doing to myself,
Mm.
reflecting on it. And I was like, okay, so if I went through all of this and I have all of this knowledge, then how would other people that don't have knowledge or, realize things, know where to go from there. So that's why I decided to kind of change routes and kind of go from more of a, functional standpoint, and kind of address healthcare from a different light. And so that's what led me here to doing, online based health and wellness coaching.
No, that's awesome because our bodies are so much more intelligent than we, give them credit sometimes. I mean, I think some people know how intelligent our bodies are, but like no matter how much we're like suppressing like our mind of like the things going on, like your body's going to tell you that there's something going on regardless. Like you can try to be blank slate up here and push it down and go day by day, but your body's going to be triggered and it's going to be, I heard that like the gut is like the second brain. So holds a lot of like anxiety. That's why a lot of people have gut issues, and stress. So, how can we like identify physical and emotional stressors that impact us in various aspects of our health?
Yeah. Yeah. So stress, obviously, I mean, stress is everywhere. We can't avoid it. It's part of our day-to-day life, and our bodies are designed to deal with stress. However, in the modern lifestyle that we live in, our go, go, go society, always having to do more and be more and achieve more, we often get bombarded. That's a stressor in and of itself. Aside from the physical stressors that we can come across, like, poor nutrient intake. So like having a poor diet, eating a lot of processed foods, um, not sleeping enough. That can be a stressor on us. Just toxic burden from the things that we're exposed to, like pesticides and, unfiltered water, things like that. And then on the other side, we have emotional stressors. We have our life, we have, family situations, we have our work demands. And then just, a big thing that I think that a lot of us forget about is today we are accessible 24/7.
Yeah.
We have our phones, we have email, and we always feel like we have to respond.
Yeah.
We have to get back to someone if they reach out to us. So that in and of itself is another huge stressor. So, like I said, our bodies are designed to deal with stress. We have a whole system in our body that literally, that's what it's designed to do. Kind of like, I'm sure a lot of people have heard the saber-toothed tiger analogy before. Your
No, what is
flight or
that one? I actually don't think I have heard that one.
Yeah, so our nervous system has a fight or flight,
Mm.
which is the sympathetic nervous system, and we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is also referred to as our rest and digest system.
Oh, okay.
So they work to not, I mean, they're part of, but only if one is peaked, like if your fight or flight is peaked, then your rest and digest is going to be on the back burner. Because the example that's often used is if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, like you need to be able to flee. Your body's not worried about the food that you ate and absorbing all those nutrients and digesting your food well, because you have to survive in order for that food to even matter. So keeping the balance of those things. So all of the stressors that we have to learn how to have resilience to our stress, how to avoid certain stressors if need be, addressing the stressors, and then developing stress resilience.
So what are some tips for stress management that you have?
Some things, it all kind of depends on what type of a stress response you're dominating in. But
Mhm.
some, just generalized tips can be things like meditation, deep breathing. All of these things can activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Also, just getting outside and spending some time in nature, doing things that kind of ground you, taking time for yourself, which a lot of us, tend to neglect.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. Especially when we have kids.
yeah.
Like, I just really don't know how people do it. I don't know how people take care of the house, take care of the kids, give attention to the husband, like then all of a sudden try to give attention to yourself. Like, how do people do it? Because it's like something's going to lack. Your husband's not going to be getting the attention. The house isn't going to be getting cleaned, and I feel like we always want to, be there for our kids, like hopefully play with them, like create good memories. So, I mean, I'm trying to find the secret sauce for that, because I don't know how to do it. It's too
I,
much.
I know. I think we all are.
It's like, how do we do this? So
Yes.
one of the things, like we were kind of talking a little bit before, and I know it's really important because I think sleep is something that a lot of people, kind of struggle with. They wake up a lot or they have stressors that help. I mean, that don't help, but help them not sleep well, I guess, is
Right.
what I want to say. And I think sleep can help reclaim your life back if you're getting some great sleep. So, how can we improve our sleep? And I'm really interested in hearing about sleep hygiene.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleep is so important. There's so many things that happen while we sleep. It affects our energy, our metabolism, our immune system. All of these things, when we're getting good quality restorative sleep, they're amplified and boosted. So for sleep, it's very interesting because our environment throughout the day, from the time that you wake up essentially to the time that you go to bed, impacts our sleep. And a lot of people don't realize that. So, starting from, just kind of like a little timeline throughout the day, starting from when you wake up in the morning, getting sunlight into your eyes, like unfiltered sunlight. So no sunglasses, not through the window, like outside, getting sunlight for about 15 minutes, early in the morning, actually helps to start a circadian, or like an internal clock that our
Mhm.
bodies kind of function off of. So that helps to kind of start your body knowing that, okay, it's daytime, it's time to get going. Um, and then throughout the day, the choices that we make. So, exercise can be really beneficial for helping you sleep. Ensuring that you're eating quality food, keeping your blood sugar balanced, so good proteins, good fats, and then obviously staying hydrated throughout the day. To keep your body, the system functioning as it should. And
Mhm.
then, as a simple takeaway, caffeine, obviously a lot of us depend on caffeine. It's not necessarily that we may enjoy the taste of coffee, but most people are, they got to wake up and they got to get that cup of coffee because that's how you get going through the day.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then you drink
ritual.
it. Exactly. Exactly. And it's like, I can't function if I don't have it. And even beyond that, drinking it throughout the day. So, I mean, it kind of seems obvious, but, you have to put it out there that, if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, may not be the best time to have another cup of coffee, no matter how much work you have to get done, because your sleep is still going to be impacted by that. And everyone has their own tolerance. Some people can tolerate it a little bit later in the day.
Mhm.
Some people, if they drink it past noon, are going to be impacted. So that's kind of, you have to kind of play with that and figure out where caffeine stops impacting you. Um, and then a simple thing at night is we have a lot of blue light emitting devices. So whether that's our phone or our TV, computer, all of those things are sending triggers to your brain to make you think that it is still daytime and it's still time to like go go go. And that's not the right signal to send to your body when you're trying to get ready for bed and try to go to sleep. So avoiding those if you can. Obviously, some people, they just, it's like that's my wind down time. I want to watch, a crazy show. I mean, preferably not crime or anything like that that's going to get you all
Yeah.
amped up, but just some cheesy show to like, let your brain relax. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I do that sometimes too. They make actually glasses that you can wear that are blue light blocking glasses to help kind of knock that out a little bit, just to again kind of help your brain get into the mode of it's bedtime. And then, maybe sometimes you read a book at night or sometimes you have a conversation, preferably not a heated conversation with
Yeah,
your
no, don't go
significant
to bed
other.
angry. No,
Yeah,
no.
maybe not the time for a heated financial discussion,
Yeah, or
but
whatever it is. Yeah.
or whatever it is. But just kind of having those like reflecting on the day, gratitude, things like that, and just kind of getting your mind and your body calm. Sometimes drinking herbal teas, taking baths, all of those things can get your body into the right mode for sleep. And then having a good sleep environment, so that's kind of that's your daytime environment leading up, and then actually at night when you're going to bed, having a solid sleep environment. So just a few things, having your room really dark, so
Mhm.
that like if you put your hand in front of your face, you shouldn't be able to see it. If your arm's outstretched, you shouldn't be able to see your hand. So make sure the room is really dark. Again, all of those little lights that emit off of your phone charger, or the whatever thing is plugged into the wall, your body can sense all of those little lights. So
Yeah.
you're trying to make your room as dark as possible and cool.
Yeah.
That's the other
I hear,
important
yeah,
thing.
sleeping cool is definitely a real game time. Like 73, 71, maybe even 70, right? Between
Yeah,
70
actually,
and 73, like that's like good sleep.
yeah, it can even actually be lower than that. Like
Oh, okay.
between 65 and 68, it can be
Oh,
as low as
wow.
that.
That's probably,
Obviously, for your whole house, that can be really difficult, to make your whole house, without making your energy bill crazy. But yeah, definitely having it cooler can be a game changer for a lot of people for their sleep.
Hey, friends, I hope you are enjoying this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. This podcast would not be possible if it wasn't for the support of you, my wonderful community. To support your mama's podcast, please click the support link right down below, and you can donate just as little as 99 cents. Also, follow me in the Shop Like to Know It app, where you can follow me with all my exclusive content, all the way from baby products I love, fashion and style, and everything in between. Now, let's get back to the episode. Scrolling like past 11 and doing all that stuff, I do get a little bit more like irritated. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was just me, but I just thought that was an interesting fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Super interesting. Yeah, there's all the things that we can that we can do that affect us. It's, there's continuing research and information that, we find out, because all the stuff is new,
Yeah,
it's all new to us and our bodies and our brains to try to process what all of this stuff is and what it means.
I know. I wish we can go back to like the good old days where people played outside, and like people had their like beepers and their pagers, and you can't get a hold of anyone or track anyone. That was,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, I just want to go back to those days. It's getting crazy.
it
Um,
is getting.
well, Heather, that was like really great information. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge. I have
Yeah,
four
absolutely.
questions that I ask all my guests, and I cannot wait to hear what your answers are. My first one is, who and what inspires you?
So that's kind of I would say like a double answer for me. So on like kind of what inspired me to get really interested in health and wellness and kind of like optimizing all the things was my family. Kind of getting when I was having before I had my son, or when my husband and I decided, to expand our family. I was like, I want to create the best environment possible for him. And so, just continuing to learn and educate myself on all those things. That was a huge inspiration to get me where I am. And
Mhm.
then now, the people that I work with, like being able to empower someone to say like your diagnosis or your whatever your body is telling you, all those things, like you're not crazy, you don't have to identify with that. Like you can take the power back, like your health is in your hands and it's like you're in control. Which is hard for a lot of people, because for in like the Western medical model, and we often are like disempowered.
Well,
So
yeah, they
to be
just say,
able,
there's a pill for this, there's a pill for that. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
that's a whole other.
Yeah, that's like a whole other topic. But
Yeah,
but yeah, no, people do kind of feel like defeated and like they can't take their health back. But
right.
people like you give hope, and like you can be, the empowering woman or man that you want to be, and take back your health.
Exactly.
So my second question is, what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
Something I wish I knew when I was younger, is that it is okay to rest. You don't always have to fill your entire day, every minute of your day, with a task. Sometimes, if you feel like you need to take a rest day from the gym, if your body is telling you that, it's okay. Like go and take a leisurely walk on the treadmill or do some stretching and some breathing, or, you don't have to kill yourself every time. That's just one example. But with anything else, like if you feel like you need a moment, then it's okay to take the moment.
Yeah. No, it's a good reminder. Sometimes I used to feel like I couldn't rest. I feel so guilty just laying here. I can't do it. I see the basket of clothes calling my name, and I just be like so exhausted, and I would still just do it. But then, it's taken time. It takes time to give yourself permission to relax and to rest,
Absolutely.
and just not have to do anything. I mean, when we can, being moms and
Right.
stuff and everything, it's hard to fit that in because
Yes.
we're
Yes.
always on demand. But, it's
Yes.
always good
It's
to
okay.
do those things. Yeah. Um, so my third question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine?
Um, I would say kind of the sleep hygiene aspects, like what we talked about. Just because I learned early on, I used to think that sleep didn't matter. I really didn't think that I would just stay up late and wake up early, just to be able, again, just to cram my day back full with as many things as I could. And sleep
Running
is usually
marathons, like
I know, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not, yeah. So like definitely now, like I respect my sleep. I respect what it does for me. I respect how much better it makes me feel. To be able, and obviously, different stages of your like seasons of your life. It's not always, that cookie cutter to be able to do. But definitely just having, the awareness of how important your sleep is, and then it's not something that we should shave time off of to fit in other stuff into our day.
yeah, no, I wish I could take a nap right now. Okay, and so my last question is, best advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received would be to trust yourself. Trust yourself, trust your gut, trust what you feel like is going on in your body, trust what you believe is right or wrong for you at the time. and that you don't have to over explain or justify that to other people. I think there's a lot of everything has to be like black and white today. It's, there's a lot of that. And so I think for you to be able to identify what is best for you, it's not, it's like, oh, you're either restricting yourself or you're overindulging or it's not necessarily that, it's not always, again, that like there's a lot of gray area in there. So kind of being able to say like, this is what I think is right for me right now. And accepting that that is true for you, and makes you feel your best, then, trust what you believe. You don't have to feed into all the things that everyone else says or what they think is right, because you know what's right for you and you know what's going on in your body and what's best for you.
Totally. Great piece of advice. Love it. Yeah. So Heather, do you have any last words before we say goodbye today?
Just that, the biggest thing that I always try to put out there to people is the common does not mean that it's normal. Whatever that is, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm just exhausted because I'm a mom, or you get told that, or that's just part of getting older, or that's just like, you can feel the best that, like, you can feel how you want to feel. Sometimes we just have to get to the root of what's causing that problem. And that you don't have to accept it as just being, you don't have to accept the status quo. If you want more, then you can do all the things to help you thrive and live that best life that you want to live.
Perfect. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It was such an honor to have you on. I have all of Heather's links down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi. It's time to take back control of your health and do it in a holistic way. And Heather would be the perfect person to help you. So thank you again for listening to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.